Hi students, this is a small session to tell you something about Omicron and what you need to know about it because it's making a huge amount of noise in the social media and in the circles. So let's begin with the concept of Omicron. Before we go to that, let me tell you a few things about the educator, that is myself. I'm Dr. Meenakshi Sundaram AS, an MBBS MD, gold medalist in both MD and MBBS exams, a high-octane educator in biochemistry and microbiology for the past 11 years. And I've been successful in placing various students in the top medical institutions every single year. And I'm a prolific quiz master, both international and national. So here we have plus subscription on Unacademy, and you can take it by using code DRASM Live. And if you could use this code, you will get 10% discount on your subscription and exclusive access to all my classes. You can have access to both live and recorded classes. You will be having India's top educators teaching you. You can compete in live test quizzes. You can study online on any device of your choice, and you can study offline by downloading the videos also. You can have access to more than 25,000 plus questions. And there is something called as iconic subscription as a combination of Unacademy and Prep Ladder. You have special class features as interactive live sessions, polls for the learners, raising a hand session, never missing a class because you can have recorded versions of it, and you can have lecture notes downloaded, and you can watch them anytime, anywhere, and get your doubts clarified. And this is the updated and highly effective question bank for you. And these are the toppers for you from Unacademy for NEET PG, which was conducted in September 2021. And there is a raise a hand feature. You can click on a particular button called as raise a hand, and the teacher will invite you. You will be able to talk directly to the teacher while on a live class, and you can clarify your doubts. And this is the free test calendar for medical PG. There are two main batches starting: Focus FMG 2022 and Target NEET PG 2022. And this is boosting your medical prep, which is valid from November 99 till December 1st. If you buy for 24 months, you get 4 months free. If you buy the subscription for 12 months, you get 2 months free. And if you buy it for 6 months, you get 1 month free. Please use code DRASM Live to get 10% off. And these are the prices for the NEET PG subscription. Now, let's begin with a short description of this particular session here. Here, this is your SARS-CoV-2 virus. What you see here, this picture is taken from American Chemical Society website, and you have the S spike protein here. The protease cleavage site will be happening at this level. You have the division of the S spike protein into S1 and S2, and here you have a fusion peptide. This will be the place which will be making contact with the viral envelope. So the S2 portion will be having contact with the viral envelope. Now, what is happening with that of Omicron? In Omicron, you are having more than 30 different mutations happening on the surface of the S1 or S2 spike proteins. S spike protein has become absolutely altered. What are the vaccine protocols that we have been having? Most of the vaccines are targeting the S spike protein, and this S spike protein, if it is given as an antigenic form for a human being, your body will be able to produce antibodies which can fight against the S spike protein. Now, people are worried whether this mutation on the S spike protein will be causing the vaccination failure to happen. Please do not worry as such. The data is limited as of now. Please do not worry. This session is to tell you what to expect and what not to expect from the concepts of Omicron. So let's look at the simple basics here. Why exactly it is named as Omicron? The WHO skipped the preceding letters called as nu and xi in the Greek alphabet. Why? Because they wanted to avoid the confusion with the similarities in the word nu. Please remember, they could have used nu symbol or xi symbol. This would be able to make a difference in understanding it as nu or the Chinese number or Chinese letter xi. So they went ahead with the new name called as Omicron. But remember, this O is not a big O, it's a small o. So the strength of the micron and the O and the standard will be of the same size. Also remember, this was on 26th November, the WHO's Technical Advisory Group on SARS-CoV-2 virus evolution declared Pango lineage B 1.1.5.5.529. So if they ask you any questions, they will ask you here, what is the lineage for the Omicron? It is B 1.1.529. This is a type of variant of concern. They are using VOC as a 3-letter denomination for variant of concern. Why? There may be multiple millions of variations, which doesn't matter. But those variations and variants which are capable of causing increased severity or capable of increasing the virulence will be taken into notice, and they are referred to as VOC. A few months back, we were concerned about the Delta variant also. So this particular one, B1.1.529, is a variant of concern. This variant of concern has actually been designated as OMICRON this time. Why? Because of increase. This is the only variant which has shown massive number of mutations on the S spike protein, and that is why the social media is going gaga about it. Okay, from what is currently known, it has multiple spike protein mutations. Preliminary analysis is suggesting that it is highly infectious. It is only preliminary data. Please do not be worried. Please don't have any kind of panic about yourself. It is just a preliminary data, and you understand, like the Undertaker in WWF, you will be able to have resurrection of the virus every 6 months once. So this is happening regularly. Some people have taken it as a joke. Some people are extremely worried about it. There is supposed to be a midway. You need not be extremely worried or extremely casual about it. Whenever there is a variation, evolution wise, the virus is evolving. It is trying to make a difference for itself. When the virus is trying to make a difference for itself, it will definitely affect the kind of individuals it is going to infect with. So for that reason, you have to be cautious about it, but not in a panicky mode. Remember, South Africa has reported a 4-fold increase in new cases over the last 2 weeks, which is coinciding with the emergence of B1.1.529, which is right now named as Omicron. Now, what are the kind of diagnostic questions and dilemma it has thrown? In case of most targets, for example, when you do an RT-PCR test, you will be looking for certain kind of genes. You remember, if at all you have gone for an RT-PCR test, I believe if you're a medical student, there is a very good chance most of you would have gone for an RT-PCR test. There you would have written about the genes, which is S gene, here N and RDDP gene, right? Here, the most other targets other than S spike protein have remained unaffected. That is good news for us. Then this information has come from the laboratories in the Gauteng in South Africa. So do not worry about much. So the RT-PCR tests are able to pick up this variant. But there are certain kind of laboratories who are telling us this particular variant may not be picked by certain RT-PCR tests in certain laboratories. One thing is for sure, they are not trying to look for the rapid antigen test to be affected. So remember, rapid antigen tests are not massively affected because of this variant, but current RT-PCR tests can detect the variant. Some laboratories are only indicating that there may be a failure. Just as with alpha variant, there is a partial detection of the S spike protein. So they have come up with the new word called as S gene target failure. What does it mean? If the RT-PCR has been given instructions to detect a particular S gene, here this particular organism, that is new Omicron's variations S gene, is not being detected, and that detection has been a failure. So when they speak about S gene target failure, remember this is the reason. And what is the reason again? The mutations have been more than 30 on the S spike protein. Okay, now what about the South African actual information? There has been a cluster of mutations like H655Y plus N679K plus P681H. It is more associated with more efficient cell entry, indicating enhanced transmissibility. That is, the South Africa NGS-SA has said there is a cluster of mutation. If at all it goes by this kind of variation, it has enhanced transmissibility because of more efficient cell entry. Also, there is a deletion NSP6, which is similar to the deletion in alpha, beta, gamma, lambda variants. This can actually also enhance the transmissibility, but that is not completely proven. Not completely proven. Why are we bothered about Omicron anyway? Because you have to remember, if there is a variant, whether it is capable of jumping from one host to another host very faster, or it is capable of attacking a particular host more severely, or it is having lesser incubation period where the doctors are not given a chance to actually work on it, or it is escaping diagnostic criteria, or if I give us any kind of treatment, whether the treatment is failing. These are the 5 reasons why you should be concerned about any kind of variant, right? Let me repeat it. One thing is whether this particular organism is more infectious and contagious between hosts. Second, if at all it is attacking a host, whether it is more virulent. Third, if it is diagnostically, it is becoming difficult for identifying the presence of an infection. Fourth, if the treatment is actually going for a failure. Fifth, can be any kind of difference that can happen because of this particular virus. Okay, now look at this. The evasion of innate immunity may happen. virus can actually evade innate immunity, especially NK cells and NK bar T cells can be hoodwinked by the variation. This is what they are worried about. But remember, it is still not proven, so you can wait until the studies have been coming up. Now, how does this, also one thing that you're bothered about is whether the vaccine can be a failure, right? The AstraZeneca and Sparta, these kind of vaccines which we are focusing on, those vaccine companies have still not have enough amount of data to tell you whether their vaccination can be a failure against this Omicron. So these vaccine companies like AstraZeneca have asked for time. They will be, they do not actually tell us straight away, but they might be actually waiting for more studies to come up with an answer. So do not worry about it right now. So please continue having your first or second dose if at all you are lacking in the vaccination protocol. And 26th November, who designated this idea, right? Now there can be questions like, what is TAG-VE? It is Technical Advisory Group on Virus Evolution. Virus evolution has been understood as a very standard thing, and this has been accepted. That is a good thing by the world scientists. So there is a technical advisory group present on the WHO's panel. They're continuously giving us updates, and that particular updates has given us the variant's number and name. Okay. Now, transmissibility, it is not very clear whether Omicron is more transmissible and whether it is actually having the same kind of properties as the previous Delta variant or not. The number of people testing positive has risen in areas of South Africa affected by the variant, but epidemiological studies are underway to understand if it is because of Omicron or other factors. What does this line tell you? See, if at all the number of tests are rising, it's good news. That is, Omicron can be detectable under RT-PCR tests. Only a few laboratories are telling us that it may be a failure to detect. Okay, next look at the severity of disease. Again, that is also not clear whether the infection with Omicron causes more severe disease compared to infections with other variants like Delta. Okay, now preliminary data, what exactly do we have? What information can we have about Omicron? It says increasing rates of hospitalization is happening in South Africa right now. This is coinciding parallel with the timeline where Omicron has been detected. So people are right now worried about Omicron. So you are actually allowed to be worried. But you don't have to be worried to such an extent that you become panicky or you have anxiety. Now, if at all the South African people are traveling towards India, and in India, if this diagnosis is done and Indians are actually infected by this Omicron, what can happen in India is a different story altogether. Right now, some amount of stories have leaked. People are speaking about Omicron in India more. It means people are having more amount of awareness. So WHO is warning every single country to be ready to have preparations about the Omicron part. Okay, initial reported infections were among university students, younger individuals who tend to have more mild disease. But the problem is that Omicron is definitely capable of being more severe in vulnerable population. What is a vulnerable population? Those who are suffering from immunosuppression, those who are of extremes of age group. Less than 2 years of age and more than 70 years of age, extremes of age group, they can be vulnerable. This is what I would want you to remember. All the governments are doing their best to identify what is happening, starting from state government to central government. Everybody is aware of these kind of variants, so do not worry. You will be getting the best kind of treatment from the situation. Okay, all variants of COVID-19, including Delta variant that is dominant worldwide, can cause severe deaths of death. In particular, for the most vulnerable people, this information is always the key. So this information should be remembered, and this is the key. So what can you do at this point of time? Prevent it. Prevention is more important. And remember, this information is actually added. If at all you have been infected with COVID-19, and if there is a reinfection, that reinfection rates have been higher with that of Omicron, this information has been given to us. So remember, it could become reinfected more easily with that of Omicron. So people who are already infected, they are not highly immune to Omicron. In fact, they can get reinfections with Omicron faster. And this information is simply told information based on preliminary data. It is also not confirmed. Information is limited. So in the upcoming days and weeks, people will come to know whether this is true or not. And what about the effectiveness of vaccines? Technical partners are trying to understand the effect of the existing countermeasures, including vaccines. All the technical partners are doing their best to identify whether the vaccines are effective or not, and everybody is working in goodwill faith. So please don't worry. They will be coming to tell you whether the vaccine can be helpful against Omicron. In case, if at all, the things go south, you don't have to worry. You will be coming up, they will be coming up with small variations in case of vaccination. Again, the vaccination will be helpful. So do not worry at this point of time. Vaccines remain critical to reduce severity of the disease and death. This is always gold standard. So trust any vaccine that you have, and that vaccine can always help you. Always help you. Even if you have a mutation. If they say the vaccination rate is slightly, the vaccination is not as effective in case of Omicron, still against the other antigens, your vaccination can help you. Those antibodies can always help you decrease the severity and decrease the frequency of deaths. For that reason, do not avoid any vaccine. All partners are doing their best, so do not avoid any vaccination. And if at all people are supposed to take their booster doses, please do it as and when possible. Okay. This is about the effectiveness of current tests. Studies are still ongoing to determine whether there is an impact on other types of tests. Current treatments, corticosteroids and interleukin-6 receptor blockers will still be effective for the managing patients with severe COVID-19. So that part, the doctors everywhere are able to say okay for it. Corticosteroids are blanket measures. Corticosteroids are blanket anti-inflammatory agents. They are the most powerful anti-inflammatory agents because they are not like NSAIDs. They hit the root of inflammation. They will be inhibiting the phospholipase A2, because of which they stabilize the phospholipid bilayer membrane, because of which arachidonic acid metabolites will not be coming out, because of which prostaglandins, leukotrienes will not be released so easily. So corticosteroids have still been effective, and IL-6 receptor blockers are still effective. Other treatments are being assessed, so do not worry about it. And what are the recommendations given to all the countries? They have to enhance the surveillance, sequencing of the cases should be done, sharing of the genome sequences on publicly available databases, for example GIS, AID. So these are the things that the information has been given to the countries. It is also important that the inequities in access to COVID-19 vaccines are urgently addressed to. What does it mean? You have to focus on every single COVID-19 vaccine information that is available, and that should be shared. SARS-CoV-2 VOC is a SARS-CoV-2 variant. It will meet the definition of VOI, and through a comparative assessment has been demonstrated to be associated with one or more of the following changes. What are the four? That is, whenever they say it is a variant of concern, it is. See, for Omicron, it is still not properly established. But whenever they say it is in a VOC, there is a chance of increase in transmissibility, there is a chance of increase in virulence, and there is a decrease in effectiveness of public health and social measures available. That is why you should be concerned but not massively worried. Variant of importance, variant of concern is definitely capable of having some changes, but those changes, whether they are capable of having a mass destructive effect, is still not known. So please be aware of the Omicron. That is the importance of this particular small video. Have a look at this information. So whenever there is any kind of genetic change, it can affect the virus characteristics to some extent. Whether that extent is capable of creating a mass change, it is still to be known. Right now, you do not have to worry to have an extent of anxiety. Okay, so what are the summarizing points at this point of time? Omicron is the name given for the latest variant, and this variant has the maximum amount of mutations on the S spike protein, and it has still been detected under RT-PCR tests. You will not be having to worry because N gene and the RP protein can actually be still detected, but the S spike protein has been a failure in some laboratories. That is called as S gene detection failure, and the vaccines and their ability, whatever the vaccines we have taken, are they effective against Omicron? The study is still not complete. Do not worry about it. Don't blame any kind of vaccine. Please take your vaccines. Do not give excuses. Take your primary and the booster doses if and when possible. So Omicron is a variant. Whenever it's a variant of concern, there may be small changes in variants and the characteristic of a virus, but that does not mean you should be anxious. Be cautious, maintain social distance. Still, the COVID pandemic may not be completely over. Give it the due respect. At some point of time, we will be coming out of it soon. There is positivity at any end of this tunnel. Let's look for the light at the end of the tunnel. We will be able to come out of this very safely. Till then, please be safe, have your vaccination, please be indoors if this is given a possibility, and please maintain social distance and hand washing. All the very best.